Welcome. We're live from the Tropenmuseum here in Amsterdam. And this is the special live opening of Fleeing the Dark, the new exhibition by Issam Kourbash in this amazing hall. And I'm Yukiko, and I'm going to be the host for the next 15 minutes. Yes, that's right. This opening is going to take 15 minutes, and it's fully packed with all kinds of interesting stuff. First of all, I'm going to talk to Wayne Modest, and after that, I'm actually going to meet the artist himself. Issam is here in person, and he's also going to surprise her, or actually now it's not a surprise anymore, with a performance. So stay tuned, and if you actually have a question or you're really curious about something, then drop it in the comments. I will make sure I'll ask the questions afterwards. Okay, have fun. So this is Wayne, and Wayne is actually the director of content here at the Museum of World Cultures. Wayne, thank you so much for taking the time to meet me.
Oh, very happy to do that.
Yeah. So I think that many people, when they think about the Tropenmuseum and also the Museum of World Cultures, that they think that they will also kind of like see here kind of, items related to, different cultures. There's the word again. But you actually also show contemporary art here. Why do you think that actually belongs here in the museum as well?
Yeah, thank you, Yuki. I mean, in a funny way, I could ask you that question back. Why not, right? But I won't ask that.
Thanks.
I'll move to suggesting that we've had a longer history of showing contemporary art here in the museum. I think from the 1980s already, in our museum we've been showing contemporary art, and a part of that was also to think through the global in art and art practice. We are a museum about the world, about the global, and including global art practice was important in part of our work. But there is also the idea that contemporary artists help us to understand, to think about, to engage with the world around us in the questions that they ask. And that is very important for us as a museum. Also, the relationship that an artist makes between the past and the present, between the past and the contemporary, and bringing that together. And that is what you're going to see in this work as well, that Issam has a dialogue that helps us to, what I would say, make more historically contingent ways of trying to understand what is happening around us. But a last part of that, which is precisely what museums are there for, and our museums are there for, is that contemporary artists helps us to imagine possible possibles. And that possible is also a possible future, for example, where some of the structures and the difficulties or the concerns that we have in the present are no longer there. They give us the possibility to strive for something else. And in that, contemporary arts fits perfectly in our museum as a world museum, a museum about worlding, about in relation to the world.
So there's actually nothing more natural than
there
showing contemporary art.
Absolutely nothing more natural.
Yeah.
I would even go as far as to suggest that older construction that thought that contemporary art belonged in one place and Volkenkunde or ethnography belongs here is such an outmoded idea that we need to emancipate ourselves from.
Yeah.
Because it is exactly here where we can have that kind of conversation between past and present, between artists reflecting to help us understand the world around us much better. And that's why it is here.
And is that also, or let me rephrase myself, do you think that also contemporary art can actually help us understand the world around us?
Yes, of course. I mean, I think that it is in its provocation, in its demand that we attend to certain things that we sometimes overlook, in the connections that it makes with history, but also in the way art also implicates us in other issues that are happening in other places in the world. Contemporary art also allows us to critically reflect, of course, on ourselves, but what I would think of and the world that we share with others. And that, for me, is and for us here at the museum, is one of the reasons why we have worked with, but we continue to work with contemporary art, and also to move away from this idea that there is something called ethnography and culture, and then there's something called art, and those are separate worlds. That is an old-fashioned construction that we need to, as I say, move away from.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And after this answer, I'm actually even more happy that the museums in the Netherlands will finally reopen next week.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm certainly happy for that, and I just wanted to thank Isam on camera to say that he has opened up for us a way of attending to the importance of his work, trying to think about how do we deal with world-breaking catastrophes, and how in those world-breaking catastrophes we can still sketch
Yeah.
possibilities of hope. So thank
Thank
you.
you so
And
much.
thanks to Isam.
Yeah.
All right,
Well,
thanks.
thanks, Wayne. Well, now we're actually going to meet the artist himself, Isam Kurbash, who is a Syrian-born artist who has this exhibition here. And I'm so happy he's here because that's not a given during these weird times we're living in. Isam, welcome. Congrats on your exhibition.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Well, maybe you can tell me and the viewers, what do we see here? I see a door hanging here in the air. I see a bowl. I see a door lying there. What is it that we see?
Actually, a very beautiful question what you are asking, the idea of what we see, because you just said that is I am Syrian born, and what you see is actually my reflection on the crisis that I am looking at from distance. I am Syrian born, therefore my landscape is all to do with Syria. And I decided that I'm actually going to do this kind of conversation between, I was really very privileged to be invited to the Tropenmuseum to look at objects from many different collections,
Yeah,
including
because
the
the object we see here, this is not your art. This is actually the collection of the museum.
Both. I mean, there is many museums involved with this one. But for example, you just said that it is this one particularly is actually a door from Aleppo. So I decided to make out of it a metaphor, a physical metaphor, as well as a metaphorical metaphor. This idea is a border between home. There is a crisis at home, and the home I am dealing with is Syria. Although there could be many different, if you like, different metaphors, because equally I'm dealing with the question of seeds. But having that border, this is the crisis, and this is the outcome of the crisis. So this
So we're
is
actually passing a border right
exactly.
now. Yeah.
Absolutely. But the border actually is the home, and the home is broken. Half of the door hanging up in the air, and the second half is fallen. And because of this metaphor, everything is being dispersed. What is dispersed is migration of this exodus of people, and not only people, but seeds as well. So you will see the question of seeds is coming in different ways.
So as I understand, you're actually visualizing the crisis in Syria through the collection of different museums and your own work.
Absolutely.
So this is a border, and where are we walking towards now?
It is, I am deliberately actually, as everything is going towards the exit of the museum. So it is almost like one needs to find a solution. As a human being, as a seed, we need to travel from darkness to light. Hence,
Beautiful.
this is why we call it fleeing the dark. And this is why I decided to make this journey of disbursement made out of toys, made out of shoes, made out of many other objects that we are going to see. And this is why I found that is I am not putting an answer, I am putting a question.
So there's not a solution coming from you, but you actually want to tickle people's minds to come up with a solution themselves for the crisis?
Absolutely. This is what is contemporary art. It's and somehow it is a place where one could actually project one experience and project other people's experiences. And I'm sure that as many people in this particular part of the world, I'm sure there is the question of migration is a very prominent question.
So you're actually doing exactly what Wayne just referred to.
Absolutely.
What we see here is it's such an impressive piece. I'm sorry, I have to stand here. But I see so many things. I see big boats, I see small boats, I see tiny seeds lying there. For the people at home, maybe you can explain, what is this?
It's a very beautiful question, actually, because we just talked about it as a question of seeds, and seeds to do with time and seasons. So what is here is a calendar.
A calendar.
It is a calendar made out of days, weeks, and months.
And the big boats are the months.
The big boats are the months. The middle ones are the weeks, and the small ones, the one which is carrying charred seeds, are the days since the Syrian uprising. So I am making it, and you will see that I hope that the viewer will come very soon and see it, this is ongoing.
Wow, that's impressive. And what kind of materials did you use?
It is, again, I am really interested as a contemporary artist. I'm interested in the agency of the material. So I have mud guards, the big ones.
Yeah.
Mud guards supposed to guard from the mud, but it didn't, unfortunately. I have tin cans. And the idea of the tin cans, actually, it is an invention of wartime to preserve life. Maybe I am borrowing it from somebody else's, this idea, but actually having that seed being in search for life. It is actually traveling towards life.
So again, a metaphor in a metaphor.
Absolutely. This is what contemporary art is not. It's not an obvious answer. It's you have to be, as a viewer, to engage with it, to find your own answer.
And what other materials did you use?
I have sand. The sand is to do with once upon a time was a stone, and actually the destruction of cultural heritage in Syria, because this is what I am interested in. So we have sand, we have seas, and we have burnt matches, and the burnt matches to do with the trauma that people are carrying with them and going towards the exit.
Wow, that's heavy stuff.
It is heavy stuff. I have to live up to the magnitude of the crisis.
Yeah,
it is 10 years of destruction, and
Yeah.
therefore, as a contemporary artist, this is what I should do.
Yeah, I have a question from the people at home, or someone that's viewing, and she wants to know when you start with such an idea in your head, what are the next steps? How do you continue?
It's always any idea. It's actually need testing and needs.
You need testing.
Testing, absolutely.
So it's experimenting.
It's experimenting. There is nothing fixed. There is no formula to follow. And this is why you will come to see my exhibition. You will see I'm experimenting with shoes, I'm experimenting with boats, I'm experimenting with burning matches, I'm experimenting with seeds, I'm experimenting in many different forms. And this is what I am interested in, the agency of the material, the conversation between me and the material. Not only that, but between the conversation between my work and the museum's work.
Wow. Thank you so much, Issam. I heard that you're actually going to do a performance for us. It's going to take place right here. So maybe you should stay here, and then I'm going to say goodbye to the audience, because they're not going to see me back.
Okay.
Thank you so much, and I really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you very much. I look forward to talking to you further.
Yeah, we will do that.
Thank you.
So that was a very quick overview of an amazing exhibition, and I really love to invite you all to come here and visit the museum, because what you just saw is just such tiny, like 1% of what you actually experience when you're right here. From next week on June 5th, you can visit the museum in real life. You can find more information on the website of the Tropenmuseum, also on their Facebook and all their other social media. Thank you so much for watching. Don't tune out just yet, because we're now gonna look at the performance of Issam Kourbash. Thank you so much for watching.